Alright, hey folks. So in this video, I'm going to be doing yet another 10 to 70 Horde speedrun. I did one of these a few months ago before the start of the Earthen, but this one's obviously going to be a bit different because I'm an Earthen in this one. And this is going to be notable for a few obvious reasons to anybody that's been kind of following the general discourse around leveling, specifically chromie time leveling. So before I get into this run, there are a few quick things that I want to talk about. I say quick, I'm going to try and make it quick. I tend to ramble a lot, so as always, I'm going to put a timestamp in the description for when the run starts. If you just don't want to listen to all this, you're going to be very confused. When you jump in, you're like, what the heck is going on for the first 11 minutes of the speedrun? So maybe let me ramble a little bit, let me cook. I have some stuff that I want to say, and I think it will be relevant. It'll help you understand generally what I'm going to be doing. So, elephant in the room with Earthen. And one of the reasons why I actually haven't done an Earthen speedrun up until literally right now is because there's this whole big thing that's been going around the leveling community about leveling with Earthen exploration. And a lot of people have asked me if I'm going to do that. The answer is no. I will just very briefly say that I don't really have any interest in that. I think it is neat that it is a thing that people are doing and that some people have had a lot of fun trying to optimize. That's cool. And that's a way that some people prefer to level, and that's great. More power to you guys. I will say, though, I've looked into it a little bit. I've talked to people who've been trying to optimize it, and it doesn't really seem like something that is, realistically applicable for the average player. The fast times that I've been seeing are using add-ons and stuff that's basically hyper optimized. You have to follow an exact path, and it's not really as laid back casual exploration as it might seem. But also, more importantly, and this is why the main reason I don't care about it at all, is I just don't really think it's fun. And I partially do these speedruns because I do find some of this stuff fun. And I think you'll see why in the first 11 minutes of the speedrun. That's the stuff that I live for, figuring out the crazy routing shenanigans. And at the end of the day, it's the Earthen leveling thing is just one gigantic dragon riding race. And that's neat as a concept, but it's just not something that I am super into. So, I'm not going to be doing that. Also, I should note, I don't think it's faster than my route, so, there's that. That's a separate point, obviously, and that's kind of why I'm trying to do this particular run here. The thing about the Earthen Racial, though, is nobody can deny that it is efficient for leveling. I will admit that I probably slipped on it a little bit more than I maybe should have early on during, the beta for the War Within. I didn't really think it would end up being as impactful as it has clearly shown itself to be. But yeah, getting a bunch of free experience from exploration may not seem like a lot, but when you actually make use of it properly, it adds up. And the other big thing that I didn't really consider is a lot of the previous time save racials, such as, for instance, Volpera Make Camp, really just doesn't matter in the context of modern leveling. It was a multi-minute time save back when a lot of teleports were required and when the run was multiple hours long. As in 4 to 5 hours long. That was my record at the time. In that case, yeah, having additional ways to, quickly bounce around the world added up over the course of a run. That is no longer the case, and while I did actually use Volpera in my previous speedrun, I didn't use Make Camp a single time. So I basically didn't play without a racial. And I still got a pretty good time with it. But obviously at that point, Earthen is just better. Now, another big issue that I had with Earthen early on, and I didn't really have the time to look into it further in the beta, but of course, before doing this run, I have since done a bunch of additional testing with that, is their introduction. So, almost every single allied race, you just create the character and you start in your main city. So you start in Orgrimmar, Stormwind, etc. Volpera starts in Orgrimmar right next to a mailbox, makes it really simple, easy to get going. Cult Hurons are a great example for Alliance, where they start in Borealis, but they take a portal to Stormwind really quickly, and the fact that they start in Borealis actually gives them an advantage, because then they get a free Ironforge portal, and everybody else would have had to do the Borealis intro to actually get that, which wastes too much time to actually make it worth it. So that's a small advantage just by being a Cult Huron. In the case of Earthen, when I tested it before, I thought, oh, you have to go through this 5-minute intro. That seems like it wastes a lot of time, because this is definitely not efficient. This probably isn't worth the experience bonus. Well, I was wrong on two fronts. Obviously, the experience bonus is worth it, but more importantly, you can skip the Earthen intro. There are many ways to break out of it. I had some people tell me that you could just walk to the end, and I think that there's like a certain... Either Blizzard fixed it, because by the time that I started testing it, that was no longer a thing, or maybe you have to progress a little bit in and then do it, but either way, it was a moot point because I found easier ways to break out that are just a lot more effective, and you'll see that literally in the first 30 seconds of the run. We're not doing any of the Earthen intro quests. We are immediately breaking out of the starting area and finding our way back to Orgrimmar, which is going to be fun. And that kind of summarizes, I guess, the big takeaways for the Earthen stuff. But I will note, of course, I said I'm not doing an exploration run. This is going to still be a standard leveling run. So if you go back at the end and look through everything that I've done, you will recognize this route as like a broad strokes thing. It is still going to be the traditional horde path of, you know, Silverpine Hillsbrad. Those zones are just really fast. That's the fastest way to level. But we're going to be doing it effectively with an Earthen spin. So while I am not going to be going out of my way necessarily to fly around and explore points, that isn't because I'm trying to deliberately, like, challenge myself to not use the Earthen Racial. No, I just don't actually think that's going to be a faster method of leveling. However, when it makes sense to do so, I will be making sure that I am benefiting from the Earthen Exploration Racial because, yeah, it's good. It's worth benefiting from. There are times when a short detour to grab an exploration point will make sense, and I will do that. That's part of playing this race. But I'm not going to, say, go on a 10-minute detour just exploring stuff. If I thought that would make it faster, I would. Who knows? Maybe, you know, a year from now, when this becomes even further optimized, that might be really efficient for certain sections, and the run becomes, like, half exploration and, you know, half questing. At that point, I'll be honest, I would probably just make it its own category, at least personally, and focus more on non-Earthen allied race leveling, which... just in general, I think is probably what I'm going to do going forward, but I kind of felt I needed to do this run, so I didn't feel like I was ignoring all the people who were asking me to do an Earthen run. So here you go. We're doing an Earthen run, but it's not the Earthen run that maybe you were expecting. It's an actual Earthen run, not the exploration thing. Maybe if I hit like a certain subscriber goal threshold, I'll do a fucking Earthen flying speedrun, since I know some people really want that. We'll see. Think about it on the fly. That being said, covered Earthen stuff. Other stuff that I need to talk about. One, real quick, this run is done on the PTR. That's just for just ease of use, right? The fact that I can copy over all my consumables, and that means I get to save gold, makes it a lot easier. Less competition with other players just gives me a more standardized time without having to rely on RNG. Always just a very nice thing to benefit from. I've been doing PTR speedruns for years, so this should be nothing new to people who are familiar with my channel, but if you're new, there's always a few people who are like, why does it have that little icon? It's PTR. That's what it is. PTR, if you're curious, anybody can join. You can create your own PTR account on your Blizzard page, and it just adds it to your launcher. It is not like an exclusive club thing. Anybody can do this, right? So just a little note there. And the other important thing is that I'm going to be benefiting from a few buffs during this run. So most people who are watching this in the immediate moment will probably know exactly what I'm talking about, but for people finding this in the future, just so if you're wondering what is that thing that he's doing that I don't have access to, there are events going on right now. So first, Darkmoon Fair rolls around on the first week of every month. This one's pretty standard. I do pretty much all of my speedruns with Darkmoon Fair, so I'll be getting that buff. I'm going to have Draft of 10 Lands. That's a consumable. I have a guide on my channel. It's old, but it still stands up on how to farm those. It's mentioned in my written leveling guide, probably in my video one too. I can't remember. It's been a while. So it's a 10% experience buff. That's just free XP. I'm going to be turning on War Mode, as per usual. I am going to be doing Dragonflight crafting at some point. It has been heavily nerfed, you know, since the end of Dragonflight, but it is still worth including in the run. You'll see there's a special way that I'm going to include it this time. In a lot of the previous speedruns, I did Dragonflight crafting at the very end. I will not be doing that this time. We'll be doing it a good bit earlier. And I think you'll see why. It makes more sense to do it earlier. This is something that a few people suggested to me, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. So when we get there, I think you'll understand why I changed it to the way I did. But all of that said, the most important limited time event, which will still be going for quite a while, is the anniversary. So WoW is currently on its 20th anniversary. You can get a 20% experience buff from a variety of sources. It's split in half. 10% of it you just get permanently. Everybody gets it. And the other 10% you need to get from a quest called Celebrate Good Fun. And you pick that up outside the Caverns of Time, where the anniversary event is taking place. And there is a method that I'm going to be using in this speedrun where I can get that entire quest completed in roughly 2 minutes. And I actually have a separate video guide that I just posted earlier today at the time of recording on my second channel, showcasing exactly how to do it. Obviously, if you watch the speedrun, you'll see how to do it, but that way, if anybody is curious specifically just on that and they're not interested in the leveling portion, you know, maybe if your friend asks, you can send them that video. It's 3 minutes, just shows you how to get the quest done super fast. And of course, like I said, we'll be doing that in this run. So, to break all of that down, because, you know, I just rambled through a lot of stuff, I'm going to be playing in Earthen at the start of this run. And I'm going to explain this now because it's going to go very fast, and I'm not really going to have time to explain what I'm doing in the moment. So it might be a little bit distracting, and you might be like, what the hell is going on? So I'm going to try to explain it now. I'm going to log into the game. I'm going to escape the Earthen starting zone with a very cool method that I think you'll like. I am going to make my way to Orgrimmar. I'm going to get to Orgrimmar. When in Orgrimmar, I'm going to head to the Caverns of Time. I'm going to get the anniversary 10% buff by doing the Celebrate Good Fun quest in about 2 minutes. Then I'm going to return to Org. I'm going to then head to the Darkmoon Faire from Orgrimmar. Going to get the Darkmoon Faire 10% buff. I'm going to turn in all my Darkmoon Faire quest items, which I have, of course, mailed to myself ahead of time. Mail a bunch of stuff before every speedrun. That one's standard. I have videos on my channel covering all the stuff that I use for these speedruns. Probably link that in the description. So I'm going to be getting the Darkmoon Faire quest items, turning in the Darkmoon Faire quest items. Then I'm going to be returning to Orgrimmar once again with all my buffs. And I'm going to be turning on Chromie time and doing the standard questing process. Broad strokes, that's what you're going to be seeing. It's going to take 11 minutes, but there's going to be a lot of small details in there that I kind of want to leave as a surprise because I think they're kind of fun. And I think it's one of those things where you're going to see it in the run, you're going to go, oh, crap, that's cool. Or one of them, I think a lot of people are going to go, I fucking hate this guy. I can't believe he's doing this shit. But it's worth it. It's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it. You'll see what I mean. Anyways, the main reason that I want to explain all that ahead of time is I've had to practice this intro, even like I did a few live server practices. I did a few practices here on the PTR, all the way up until like, you know, mid Silverpine just to get the muscle memory down. Because this is, without a doubt, the most complicated introduction to a speedrun that I have ever had to do. At least, you know, in terms of the 10 to 70 runs. There is so much going on here. And it is outside of Darkmoon Faire. And even then, Darkmoon Faire is a little bit different than normal. But all the other stuff I've never had to do in a speedrun before. But the way that I have to sequence it all together, especially being an Earthen, is really, really, really complicated. But also really cool when you actually see the entire thing play out. So this is kind of why I said earlier, this is what I love about speedrunning. It's not like just following from point A to point B. Like, I had to figure all this shit out on my own. I had to think to myself, okay, how am I going to get the Darkmoon Faire buff, the anniversary buff, and break out of the Earthen starting zone, all three of those things in the shortest amount of time, and then head to Silverpine Forest. And you just basically look through your arsenal of toys and random knickknacks that you've picked up over the years of playing WoW, and just throw shit at the wall to see what sticks. And then finally you find, like, a combination of two different items that you never would have thought to use that work perfectly and are really efficient, and you just go, oh yes, beautiful. That's what I love to see. So there's going to be some cool stuff in this run really early on. Anyways, I'm going to have to focus a lot because even though I have practiced it a few times, it's going to be new to me. I'm going to take a sip of coffee because, as always... Okay, so I actually had to do a bit of editing here. You may notice that things look a little different. So this is attempt number 2. Oh my god. So I just got done explaining how the start of the run is really complicated. So I did the start of the run, and at about minute 2, something happened that did not occur in any of my test runs. And I will I will, when we get to that part in the actual speedrun, tell you what happens on attempt number 1. It's so stupid. Thankfully, I mean, a run dying 2 minutes in, it's annoying because I had to then, you know, mail everything back to, you know, one of my other characters, then mail it all over again. I had to delete the character, recreate the character, so that's kind of annoying. I might have accidentally changed, like, one of the facial features. I don't know if it's exactly one-to-one. I tried to do it based on memory. It's so stupid, dude. What I will probably do is, because now I have to edit this, because I'm not going to redo that entire, like, 20-minute intro again before starting this run. I'm going to edit together the run itself and that 20-minute intro I did before the failed first attempt. So I'll probably take a little clip and put it at the very end of this video after the speedrun's finished, so you get to just see how catastrophically fucked run number 1 went. It's so dumb. It's in such a stupid, avoidable way, but it's something that I never would have considered. Either way, that run died. So we get to do it again. I can't even really be mad because it died in a funny way, at least. So, you know, it'll be amusing to watch. Need to take another sip of coffee before I start this one again. Unfortunately, you are going to be getting my second narration for a lot of this. I will hop in, right? But the initial wonder, maybe it was a little gone. All right, so we're going to, during the cutscene, start the timer. We're going to do that. Necro Light Skull. We're going to go here. We're going to take that, put that there. So we are teleporting at Castle Nathria. And I have never gotten to use my Shadowlands teleports in a speedrun before. I've been looking for a situation to use them ever since I got them, like, 2 years ago. So I'm very excited that I finally get an opportunity to do this. And we're going to get this exploration point. Barely got it. Yep. And... ah, shit. There we go. Can be a little bit finicky sometimes. Honestly, it is so good that the run died within the first few minutes, because I'm not going to waste anything. Okay, perfect. So I used a toy there to kill a critter to open a portal to the Black Temple. You may have no idea what's going on right now, and yep, that's the idea. I get to use a lot of cool toys in these speedruns, and I will explain as we go, but right now, can I get... yeah, there we go. The exploration credit is so annoying. This is honestly another reason why I'm just not very interested in doing Earthen exploration runs. The game is just not designed for this to be a thing, so there's just so much variance in terms of how long it takes you to get credit for exploring this stuff, and it is so annoying. Let's get Skethlon base camp. Wildhammer Stronghold. So, this is where the run died. Can you guess why the run died? As I was flying over Wildhammer Stronghold. So, I've done, like I said, multiple practice runs of this entire thing. Come on, give me fucking credit for the fetid pool, dude. Yeah, I hate this so much. This run is particularly slow in terms of giving me proper exploration credit. Sometimes you fly in, you immediately hit it. Other times, it's just so delayed. Fetid pool in particular, on a few of my test runs, I didn't get credit because I flew past it too quickly. Okay, we got credit, we can keep flying. But yeah, so I've done multiple tests. I never had any issue flying over Wildhammer Strongholds. Would have been so funny if flying over Illyrian Stronghold, I died again. But that's what happened. There's a random guard sitting on one of the walls, not on all of them. There's one wall that has a question mark guard sitting on it. And I flew directly over that one guard. And I guess on this particular run, I got a little bit too close. And I just got sniped out of the sky. One shot, I'm down. Like I said, none of my test runs I ever got close to that guard. It was never an issue. This one particular time, the game said, fuck you. And of course, it was a question mark mob. Because you can see, I actually got into combat with a mob there. And it didn't hurt me. Okay, we're going to take the portal to Orgrimmar. We're going to head to the Caverns of Time. Mount up. We're going to go into our pet journal. Going to coast to a stop here. We're going to summon a pet. We're going to turn this in. Pick up Celebrate Good Fun. Please give me a lore question I know. Homeworld of the Ethereals, Karash. I know that one. Okay, nice. Man, in one of my test runs, I got like 50 questions in a row. It wasn't literally 50, but I got so many questions in a row that I just didn't know. and I wasted like 30 seconds there just failing it. And I just thought to myself, oh god, if that happens in the actual speedrun, I'm gonna look like such a fucking idiot. Thankfully, first try, a question that I actually know the answer to. Realistically speaking, if I wanted to, you know, min-max the hell out of the speedrun, I would just sit there just slamming lore questions back and forth until I had every single answer memorized, because some of them are really dumb. So I shit on the WoW storytelling a lot in some of my runs, but I actually have, in the past, really enjoyed WoW lore. Like, as a kid, I've been playing this game since, you know, it first came out, since I was 5 years old. So, like, I have a long history with World of Warcraft, and when I was really little, I loved reading all the lore pages and, you know, the backstory of the game and stuff. So I know, like, actually a decent amount about, you know, history trivia like that. But there are some questions on there where even I'm, like, fucking clueless. I don't know. Oh my god, I can't click. So if you aren't sure what I'm doing here, or like what is going on, I'm trying to get the 10% anniversary buff like described in the start of the video, because I gave like the whole run through, and this is the fastest way to do the Celebrate Good Fun quest. You run around and you collect Zoomy treats. This may seem really dumb, it may be like you're wasting your time sitting around doing nothing, but this gives me 10% additional experience from all sources for the entire rest of the run. That, as you might imagine, is very good. So we want to do that. Even if it takes like 2 minutes to get this buff, it is very much worth it. So we're going to do that, we're going to do that, and then we're going to run over here, carry the buff. Got the buff. Now we're going to use the Lost Dragon Scale to go back to Orgrimmar, because we briefly stepped into Orgrimmar and it gave us the Dragonflight intro quest. We're not actually going to do Dragonflight, but I am going to use that to get a fast travel back. We're going to land. We're going to drop this thing. Don't judge me, it's for speedruns. So whenever I bought the $90 mount, as you can see, I am guilty. I did buy this. I am part of the problem. I acknowledge that. However, I have been telling my friends ever since I bought this mount that it is going to be really useful for World of Warcraft speedruns, which is, frankly, the main thing that I do. This is my job, quite literally. I make YouTube videos off this, and it is a time save. And I am proving right now in this run that it is a time save. It's been less than a month since the Brutosaur, and I've already put my money where my mouth is and found a way to save time with this thing. So, yeah, I'm not lying. This actually is very important for me to spend $90 on. Please believe me, friends. Okay, we're gonna land here. I can't get down. There. Mount back up in the Traders Guild of Brutosaur. We're gonna access our mailbox again. I have the full buff. Yep. Where am I? Over here. Use gun shoes in a second. Gun shoes. Probably don't need all those, but let's play it safe. Radnax gem. Ready to cancel it. We're getting the damage buff. Radnax again. Cancel that. Get these. Then we're going to do Zen Pilgrimage and teleport back. Oh, it's going to be a nightmare having to clean my bags. It is important, though. I can start doing some. I want that on shift 2, actually. Oops. We'll figure that out. I'll have plenty of time to do that. Yeah, some of these loading screens will take a little bit of time. I'm going to spin around. I'm going to hit the Orgrimmar portal. Roll. Do this. This is why I got Swiftness Potion. Okay. Now I'm going to mount up. We'll dodge the chains. Oh, okay. That's fine. Talk to Chromie, select the wad. You probably want to say no. We're going to take the Undercity teleport. Okay. And then we're gonna go like so, over to the sewers. Dash through the sewers. Sometimes I can clip an exploration point there. Was not to be. Doesn't really matter. We're gonna start the roleplay here. Okay, and now I gotta go. So, the other beautiful thing about having the Brutosaur is that all of that stuff that I normally do, where I get the mailbox and then I have to reorganize my bags before I get here, now, during this roleplay, I can fix everything. What are those Scourge fiends doing here? Those fiends, as you so delicately put it, are called Valkyr. Unemployed. Now, if I did this right... Okay, that's fine. Yeah. I'm gonna get these bags. I have solved the plight of the Forsaken. Okay, now I should just be able to open all, and all of my pre-placed items in the mail should fall into the correct order. I spent a lot of effort making sure that all my stuff was organized perfectly, and that it would just automatically be in the right spot the moment I opened it. So if I did that right, we should see that happening. Another interesting thing about Earthen is I actually don't have any food items. So there's going to be no, like, bear tartare or anything like that. Doesn't really make a big difference. Disgusting is the only word I have to describe it. But, Chief, without these new Forsaken, my people would die out. Have you given any thought to what this means, Sylvanas? What difference is there between you and the Lich King now? Isn't it obvious, War Chief? I serve the Horde. Watch your clever mouth! We're not expecting to win, Walker.
You stay behind and make sure the Banshee Queen is well guarded. I will be expecting a full report when next we meet. Remember, Sylvanas, eventually we all have to stand before our Maker and face judgment. Your day may come sooner than others.
Oh my god, did I actually do it all just in time? Yes, I think I fucking did. That's not the button I meant to press. Oh my god, my muscle memory's so screwed, because, like, I normally have mount on Control 6, but because for that intro, I had to do, like, temporary binds, I've gotten used to putting it on there. Okay. Alright, we're good. We got it. And now we just do normal speed leveling shenanigans. I don't know. Dude, I'm gonna be a mess for a little bit. Bear with me. Let me put this on just 7. Because I've gotten used to that from all the stuff that I just had to do. Okay, let me just double check to make sure that I have all my ducks in a row and I'm not forgetting anything. I don't think I am, but we'll see. We got Kree over here. There's a lot to unpack, obviously, in terms of what you just saw. I also don't have Rising Sun Kick on my bars. So that is one thing. Okay. Matrix Plus, yeah, I think I have all the automation stuff automatically enabled. Okay. And here it's just kind of standard speed leveling, so we can relax a little bit. Yeah, so in order to do all that stuff for the Earthen run, I had to get really creative with some of the stuff that I used. I'm gonna be honest, the whole, like, fractured Necrolite Skull and the Shadowlands portal, A lot of that is just because I wanted to find a way to include the Shadowlands portals. And I mean, it is fast, don't get me wrong, but there are some probably less extra ways that I could have gone about that. The Shadowlands portal was really fast, and I was just kind of like, yeah, screw it. We're going to do that because I think it looks really cool. And it's one of those where it's hard to say whether or not it actually is the fastest method, because there are ways to get to like the main city ever so slightly faster. What is really good about doing that Shadowlands portal is it gives you a bit of extra exploration XP. And that's kind of one of those things that it's really hard to tell with Earthen leveling. And I'd imagine there's going to be a lot of like little wiggle room as I refine this to see what is the proper cutoff between doing just exploration and doing, what's it called? Exploration and doing just standard questing and whatnot. I feel like if there is a situation where you can just very easily... I do need to... let's get Jade Walk and then Spellbook. Definitely want to get... I'll just put Rising Sun Kick. Put Provoke. Paralysis. I've got all that stuff. Obviously, I'm going to drag them into the correct spot. And then we're going to put Quiet Contemplation on G. So we're going to... What the hell? Lost Son of Aragorn's right in the right spot. Alright, perfect. So I'm going to put Provoke down there, which is where I normally have it. I've never had him just be directly out in the open. This run is blessed. But yeah, there's going to be some figuring out, like, where does the exploration come in handy. And the nice thing about Castle Nathria is there were 3 really easy-to-hit exploration points right next to where the closest critter that I could find was. So I just felt that made the run really clean for the purposes of Earthen leveling, because you just get a lot of that bonus experience completely for free. The rare is going to be in this house, it seems. All the way up in this house. Yeah, unlucky. Normally, I don't have to go this far. It's still worth doing. I think I can fit. I cannot fit. Alright. So we're going to get all our rare mobs as usual. This is like standard part of the routing. And also because we're going to be turning on War Mode when I hit level 20, that's going to be an important thing to take into consideration, that all these rares will respawn and we can get them again, which is quite nice. So we're going to fly back now that we've gotten all this stuff done. But yeah, then one of the nice things about also teleporting to TBC is that as I fly back to Shat and I work my way through Outlands, I'm getting all of those exploration points. And I'm getting credit for all of that, and it may seem like a little bit inefficient, like, hey, you're, taking this gigantic detour just to make it back to the main city, but I get like 2 levels in the process. And now I don't need 2 exact levels, but one of the reasons why that's so important, in the end, I think Darkwind Fair quest items cover it, because initially I was going to have it so I do Zen Pilgrimage back to Orgrimmar, and then as I was practicing this, I realized that just by briefly stepping into the main city, you get the Dragon Isles intro quest, and then you could just do that teleport. So I used that instead. But my initial plan was I'm going to get up to level 11, unlock Zen Pilgrimage, and that will let me Zen Pilgrimage back from Darkwind Fair, save a little bit of time that way. Doesn't really matter. One of the other really, really clean things about all of that is you'll notice that the Caverns of Time portals on the bottom floor of the Horde portal room, and normally that's a little bit annoying to access. However, the Shatrith portal room is also on the bottom floor. So by taking the return portal from Shat, it actually puts you right next to the Caverns of Time portal, whereas Zen Pilgrimage takes you to the top floor, and then you have to spend an extra 15 seconds running down. Now, is a 15-second time save there really that big of a deal? No, but that's kind of why I really like this starting part of the route. It just feels really elegant. Everything just comes together super nicely. When you look at it, big picture, like it feels like it flows well. Like, yeah, of course the Shat portal would end up being on the same floor as the Caverns of Time portal. You don't really think about that, but it does all kind of work out. And it just makes this feel really fun and really satisfying and rewarding. So I'm very happy with how that part of the route turned out. I really like it. And it's really complicated, and it only really matters if you're Earthen. You wouldn't do that for anybody else, and I think that's another kind of disclaimer that I wanted to give at the start of this run that I forgot to do, so you're getting it here, whatever. this is probably not going to be included, that entire opening section, in the updated leveling guide, right? I think we can all understand that while this stuff is really cool, and I'm going to do some crazy shit for these speedruns, not everything is going to be applicable for new players. You know, Exhibit A, right? The Castle Nathria raid portal, which requires you to clear a mythic Castle Nathria during the Fated season, which hasn't been available for years, and even then, very few people did it because, you know, most people skipped Fated, and even then, killing the final boss on Mythic isn't something a big chunk of the player base does. So, again, there are other ways to do that. I mostly did it just because I think it's really cool. Gives me a excuse to use my Shadowlands portals, and this speedrun is inherently meant to be like, it's the anniversary buff speedrun, right? This is not meant to be a speedrun where I go with like very minimalistic stuff to simulate like the average player leveling experience. Inherently, this is like a use all the limited time buffs, use all the tools at my disposal to get like a ludicrously fast time type speedrun. And for those, I'm going to go all out, which you may have picked up on this subtly as I prep the run. I didn't really draw too much attention to it because of course we'll be talking about it as we go. But I did a lot of prep for this run. But it kind of is nice because since this is on the PTR, a lot of that prep can be reused in the future. So one thing that I did is I have an insane amount of socketed BOEs, but more than that, I have a lot of socketed BOEs with high haste because Windwalker Monk really likes haste. So it's one of those things where not only was I able to hunt down BOEs that like have, you know, sockets are really good for leveling because you can put gems in them. Gems give you a lot of free stats on top of your green BOEs. You know, it doesn't discount from the actual item, but also because it has the stats I want. There's two notable BOEs. I have one socketed impatient green. Impatient, for anyone unaware, is a really rare roll where most items are going to be like of the Fever Flare, of the Fire Flash, etc. Some items can roll double stats. So Fire Flash is crit haste. Fever Flare is haste mastery. And a lot of, like I would say 99% of items in World of Warcraft are like combinations of those two stats, right? They're going to be, let me just, where am I? Oh, I forgot to pick up this quest. Weird. No, I'm just lagging. Oh, okay. Well, that's fun. No? What is happening? What is going on right now? Okay, that is a very weird bug. I've never seen that happen. Anyways... Where was I? Okay, so, I'll ramble about that later. Actually, we can talk about that when I actually get the item. There's a few things I need to do real quick. So we're going to do this. We're going to pick up all these quests. And I'm actually going to do this. Going to set our Hearthstone here. And now, we are going to go rare mob hunting. Really briefly. So in my last speedrun, I took a very long detour to kill a bunch of rare mobs. I am not going to be doing that in this one. We're not going to be taking a gigantic detour. What I am going to quickly do, I'm going to greed a little bit. I'm going to check the very inside of this cave for a chest. There's no chest. Okay. That's fine. Because if there was, that would have been insane. I'm not going to go. There are more chest spawn locations deep in the cave, but that is, like, fast enough that I can just pop my head in, check if it's there, and move on. We're going to check for... There is a chest! There's a chest! Oh, baby, there's a chest! Okay. Do this. Grab this chest. It's really, really nice. And then we're going to fly around and grab a few rare mob kills. Just before we move on, because there's obviously very big rare mob density in this hub. Scanning for chests, that's a popular spawn. Oh my god, there's one up here too! Technically, you know, it is the PTR. Higher chance of chest spawns. But some of the chest spawns are, like, tucked away in little locations that you'll never find them. Like, it's just, unless I pre-scouted it before doing the run, which, like, I could, but I feel like that would probably be against the spirit of it. But if it's out in the open, then, you know, hey, it's fair game. We're gonna get Fenwick Thatchros. Going to... I don't need to loot them. Should probably actively not be looting them. Get Lost Gilne and War Dog. And... just coast down here, save a little bit of vigor. There's Gambit. Okay. Just coast a little bit again. Just try to conserve a slight amount of vigor. And I'm going to try to hit all of the major rare hubs. There's just a lot of good ones here. This is one of the nice things about the PTR, I will say. Like I said, it eliminates RNG. I can do this. I normally don't recommend doing this because you're not guaranteed to find rares. I happen to know that they're going to be up. Check for chests. I've got combat. Shouldn't have dismounted. That's a popular chest spawn location. But because I know they're up, I can include this in the route. And this is obviously meant to be like a perfect simulation of what it's like. We can check for... yeah, Aquarius the Unbound, a really ideal spot. There's multiple chest spawn location potentials around here. So we're going to check for the ones that are out in the open first. Just because, yeah, if it's there, it's not in any of the other spots. Perfect. So that's really, really, really nice. But then I'm going to mount up. And I think the last two that I want to hit... Do I want to go into Hills, Brad? Corpse Feeder and Aphritis I'm definitely going to grab. I kind of want to go into Hills, Brad. I kind of really do. Oh, I really want to get these. Just because there's such a nice concentration of rares in just one little area. I'm not going to get all of them like I did last time. I know I said before, I'm not going to do that before. But it's one of those things where my gut is telling me this is worth doing. Especially for this little hub. This little cluster. Where they're all in just one little condensed area. This just feels really good. So then there's the Moth. Shit, overshot that. It's fine though. Alright. This should also allow me to equip my level 23 BOEs really soon, and that's going to be a notable power spike, actually, because the level 23 ones are significantly better than all of the level 13 ones I was able to find. Let me save a little bit of vigor. Just a tiny bit. And... can I get Elitis to attack me? Okay. It's just, there's such an easy direct line through all of these rares. It's so hard to pretend that this just isn't super fast. Like, going into caves, not worth. But, like, going here, there's a chest spawn on these hills that is up a good amount of the time. So, you know, the chest is basically another rare. It's not in one of those locations. It's not by Jimmy the Bleeder. Again, that's the thing. The chest could be in, like, deep in a cave, in which case, not worth it. There's one more spawn location up on this hill. Of course it's there. If it was by Jimmy the Bleeder, this would have saved me a little bit of headache, but oh well. It's worth it. Grab that. Sure. It's actually worth 2 rares to get the chest, so there you go. Double bonus there, okay. Now we're gonna head down here, we're gonna get Chordix. I'm gonna do that so that I don't get the water bug. The thing where, if you've ever noticed that your dragon riding mount seems to be derping out and it kind of keeps petering out, like, at random points, that happens if you try to mount your dragon riding mount in the water. It's a really annoying bug. Lady Zephyrus. Wait, I leveled up in midair and one-shot the mob with my level up bonus. That's funny. I'm not gonna do that quest anyway, so I won't bother looting it here. Robark. There is a chest spawn location in this area. I don't know if it's up. Get credit for that later. There's another potential for it. It's not up. Big Samris. And... oh, yep, there we go. Crinky Bench is right there. Maybe I could have done this order a little bit better, I think. Nah, I'll just... I gotta do the Fox because there's also a chest spawn location there. I can't believe I literally said I'm not going to do this, but I'm telling you, it just feels fast. Need to get this chest. So I'm just going to kill the Durnhold challenge guy. I'm actually going to equip my level 23 stuff now. Yep, that's definitely worth it. Big power spike. And I'm kind of drained on vigor. So we gotta coast a little bit. That's maybe a bit of a problem. Do I just say enough is enough because I'm out of vigor? No, I get 1 free vigor shortly. Okay. I just gotta be very careful. Make sure I regen a full vigor before I take off. Okay. And we find Gravis Slipknot, who should be in this area somewhere. There he is. Is that chest up? No. Is that chest up? No, that chest is not up. No chest there. No chest there. I'm gonna try to coast through this area. Look for chest spawns. Nah. Check the very obvious and easy to access ones, but I'm not going to go super far out of my way. Almost at the ends. Should have checked this chest before going to Scowl. I'm going to take a very slight detour. And this is up. Perfect. Yeah, I have exactly 1 vigor to play with. But I think I should be fine. This is so dumb. This is so fucking stupid. I don't know if this was like the most efficient path that I could have taken through the zone. But it feels pretty good. And I figure at this point, might as well just go and grab the blue dragon, because there's also a potential chest spawn in this area. And I can check for that, and then we are, like, done for real, for real, for real. Check for the chest spawn. Some of them are, like, way in a house, and it's not worth. Okay, we're good. We're gonna Zen Pilgrimage. Oh, man. That was a lot. Yeah, that was a lot. But it's worth it, I think. I'm pretty sure it's worth it. Hard to say. This is one of those things where it's really difficult to measure the difference between doing that and doing the standard routing. Oh, man, long loading screen here. Didn't think going back to Pandaria after I'd already visited it once in the run would take a while. Alright, just turn that in, because why not? Oh, it doesn't give experience. Whatever. Alright, we're going to turn on War Mode. War Mode is important. We're going to do that. Then I'm going to go to Dragonflight. So I mentioned earlier that there is a slight difference in the time that I do the Dragonflight crafting. It is now. I'm going to do the Dragonflight crafting at this part, because now I don't need to kind of teleport again at the end of the run. We just stay in the zone until we finish it. And this way I can get maximum value out of the Dragonflight crafting, because another issue that I ran into every time I tried this is I basically clipped the end of the Dragonflight crafting and didn't get the full value out of it. And that's just, you know, a waste of experience, because it is really good. So we're going to do this. I forgot to get my tools. Tools! I have to have my tools. It probably isn't worth it at this point. I should have remembered, but whatever. Sort by first crafts. Do this. Still have all my buffs, right? Yeah, none have fallen off. Still have 30 minutes and all that stuff. This... One thing that I should know, because I'm sure there's going to be a few people who are confused about this after watching my 70 to 80 speedruns, I tested it, and for Chromie time leveling, it appears that Blizzard has disabled Dream Surges, so you cannot actually benefit from the Dream Surge buff for Dragonflight crafting. Which, I mean, honestly is kind of unfortunate. I don't know why they thought that was necessary. It is very, very lame on Blizzard's part, but, you know, Blizzard and doing lame things... Name a more iconic duo, for being honest. Okay, that should be it. Yeah, that's my last craft. Teleport to Forsaken Rearguard. Elixir of the Mongoose I can put there. I'm barely even going to use it. I'll use it because, like, why not? But I'm only using one of them. And then I have a bunch of other stuff that I need to put on. Okay. And, now, we just need to abandon the Sea Dog quest. And now we're doing standard level and stuff. Pretty much. You know, we've done a bunch of really crazy stuff early on, but now it's honestly just very standard Chromie time leveling. Alright. There's a... Yeah, and see, this is the nice thing about doing all that. There's another chest up in this area, so it's really good. That burns all my energy. I need to get my War Mode talent to get the extra Fist of Fury damage. So, Turbo Fists. Need to spend all my points. Let's just go Ascension, Glory of the Dawn. This, Crane Vortex. This. I don't really like using Chi Burst while leveling. I don't really care. Okay. I'm going to try to remember to spend my talent points in big blocks like that. Like, obviously, it's not efficient to spend them one by one. But in that case, you definitely want to have it eventually. Okay. So, pressing Sun Kick. I think I got a Glory of the Dawn proc there. So that's nice. That's one of the advantages of having like a ton of haste pieces. So we're going to do that. And yeah, we got the Orc Sea Dog. Tag you. I think I need to be better about not... Oh, shit. Yeah, they're out of range. Okay. Yeah. It wasn't the best pull I could have done. Let's try to see if I can find another cluster. I'm really just gonna... Looks like I'm just gonna be doing this. Okay, that should be all the ones I need. Diseased organs, perfect. Now we're gonna go over here and turn this stuff in. Okay. At level 30, I get new consumables, and I also get more gear. We got the Forest Eden, we got Bolgath the Mad Hunter over here, so just make sure we kill him. I'm gonna take a short detour to... Oh, shit. Kill these guys. Trying to get up there and it's just not working with me. Please tell me the Banshee isn't in the house again. Is she on the top floor on both? Oh my god. In the exact same terrible position both times I found her. Such is life. I'll get the other guy, later on in the Silver Pine questline. Orfeng should be... I have no idea where he is. I must have passed him, because obviously he's not dead. But I can't see him, and I'm not going to just stop and hunt down a rare that, I guess, for whatever reason, I somehow missed. Okay, that's all I should need to do. For now, the rest I will get as part of the natural questing process. This is what's so nice about dragon riding. You get to do things like that, because, you know, like, I'm not losing any time, really. That's a 15-second detour to just ensure that I'm getting a ton of value. It's kind of worth it. I don't need to loot them. Let's see, let's tag you, tag you, tag you, taunt you in, and then... Nice, those I've had some really well-timed level ups this run so far. That has been very, very nice. Okay. If I'm lucky, there might be a chest in an easy-to-access spot. Okay, I hit 30. 30 means new BOEs. Right. I remember there was some issues with that. Let me just quickly get this socketed. Now I have that, okay. The chest might be at the very end. There's no chest here. I wonder if this shares a spawn location with the one that I found by the Sea Dog crates. Was never sure about that. Okay, webbed victims. I still need Orc Sea Dogs. Just take this path out. Sure. Now, as I go... Ghost Elixir replaces that. That's it for now. Okay. Yeah, so those are all my quests. Can turn all this stuff in. Sure. And then... got the PvP talent. Do that. Strike the Windlord. Star Earth and Fire. Star Spirit Strikes. And make sure the Valkyr spawns correctly. There we go. Yeah, I've had that one bug out a bunch. That one in particular, very, very, very finicky. Okay. I should note, by the way, I am, at this point, really unsure how fast this run is going to be. I should note that my end goal is sub 2 hours. I feel is doable, but I have no real frame of reference to tell whether it is or not. Because my current record is, it's like 2 hours, 30-something minutes? I forget exactly. But that was obviously without a lot of these buffs. So I know for a fact that this is going to be significantly faster just because of the buffs, but also the fact that I'm using Earthen and stuff, and I made some slight routing changes. I feel like that will end up saving time. But it's very difficult to say for sure. Okay. Can I just, okay, there's 2 more that I need. I'll probably have to kill 3 here. Come on. I've also stopped getting the rare inside that area because I've just found that it's not worth it. Okay, I don't have Cinematic Canceller anymore. I always used to have to disable that add-on, and then finally I just uninstalled it because, you know, having to disable it every time was just not worth it for the minor time saves it gave me. But yeah, right now, I'm honestly unsure how fast this could potentially be. And you might be looking at this now and saying, well, I'm getting to the, like, roughly halfway point. And you might think, wow, that's, like, pretty fast. But it's even faster than that because the last half of the run is actually... technically, I'm not at the halfway point. I'd be roughly at, like, the 1/3 point if it was purely based on, like, you know, levels. But the end of the run is actually faster than the start of the run because of, you know, the weird shenanigans with how the leveling scaling works. So, like, 50 to 60 is the fastest section of levels. There's a lot of times where I'll end up getting 2 levels in the span of, like, 20 seconds because of a mass turn-in just gives me an entire 2 levels. It's crazy. Plus, as far as questing goes, this is, like, the final of the... Actually, I take it back. It's one of the last really inefficient Silverpine quests, because Silverpine notoriously fairly slow early on, and then it picks up a lot by the end. But another big one is Hillsbrad, so... Something that I'll need to consider is whether I go to Hillsbrad early, because Hillsbrad, through and through, is just a better zone than Silverpine. And I'm unsure. Because I think if I'm going to do this intro stuff here, which you obviously do, because also Silverpine has all of the very good early concentration of rares, which is nice. And the stuff around the Sepulchre, which we're about to get to, that set of quests is really good. But you get flown to Gilneas. Obviously, the roleplay of getting flown to Gilneas, you know, it's a little bit annoying. And I say this because, you know, it slows you down. There are technically, you know, it's fast in the long run, like I said, because it makes up for it. But if we're trying to squeeze out every last little bit of time, there is a case to be made that I am so far ahead that I might not even finish all of Hillsbrad if I just stay in Silverpine. So maybe I just need to go. And that's kind of what I'm thinking now. I'm going to set my Hearthstone here just because I know I'm never going to need Forsaken Rearguard. So if I do end up needing to Hearthstone, it might be a case of, like, I Hearth to the Sepulchre later on if I do skip to Hillsbrad, which the more I say it, I think I actually might do that. Just because I think it's better to do all of Hillsbrad than some of Hillsbrad and all of Silverpine. But I'm going to do Silverpine up until the start of Gilneas, because the very first batch of quests in Gilneas is pretty good. Am I? Because I can always come back and just do that later. We'll see. We'll see. I'll have to think about it. Doing runs with all these XP modifiers can get really difficult in some weird ways, because you have to make judgment calls on the fly of which parts of the route you include and you don't. Because I have the route very thoroughly mapped out for if you don't have any XP modifiers. You know, that's very easy. You just do the entire zone. And then, you know, you end up finishing with, what, Spires of Iraq or something? If you have absolutely nothing. So it's just very, very simplified. You know exactly what you need to do. But here, the faster you get, the more things that you have to cut out that traditionally would be very efficient. But now, if you know that you're not going to be able to do everything, it's like, okay, well, what do you end up including? What hits the cutting room floor, so to speak? And I think in this case, it honestly might be the end of Silverpine. We definitely do this stuff. So this is good. To Touch of Death. Okay. But yeah, the more I look at this, given the fact that this section of the route is actually literally the slowest part of the route, like I said, I am tentatively thinking that I have sub 2 hours pretty locked down, which is nice. I need to get Grand Expedition Yak, because there are times when the only downside of the pay-to-win Brutosaur is that it doesn't have a vendor, but, you know, you can just use the Grand Expedition Yak to cover that. Those are... clear bag space. Spend talent points. Okay. We get the Lost Gilnean War Dog again. Cool. We're gonna fly down here and do these quests. While I'm at it, Ravenclaw Regent. Ah, got stuck on a hill. Would have been nice if Lost Son of Aragorn came to play again, but I can't really complain because I already did have a very easy meeting with him once throughout the run. I think it would be a little bit much if I was to expecting to meet him again super easily. But that would be kind of crazy if that happens. Is there a chest over there again? Not sure, but this time I can always check on the way back. We're just gonna run around as we normally would. Okay. Nice. One more Hillsbrad Worgen. And now I just need to wake the Orc Sea Dogs. I'm probably going to have to kill 1 or 2 more Hillsbrad Worgen, because there's inevitably a bunch defending the Orc Sea Dogs, but who knows, we'll see. There should be a few more by the docks. I can get this one here, though. That one's undefended. And actually, if I do this, and then head up here, I can check to see if the chest is up, without having to take a detour later. Because I should be able to see the chest if it's on the ground from here. It is not up. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure where that... Is that a chest? It's not a chest. That's just part of the broken demolisher. It's so easy to bait yourself in just seeing something that looks vaguely chest-shaped and thinking, ooh, that must be a chest. But alas, it was not to be. Okay. I'm going to do the working part. While I wait on the roleplay, I can do... Just grab a talent. And try to keep up with that whenever I have a moment. Also, I'm keenly aware that I need to refresh my buffs soon. I have about 10 minutes left on... Oh my god. Darkman Fair and Draft of 10 lands. Okay, and then... There we go. And then everything else we just turn in back at the Sepulchre, yeah. So I am going to go over to Gilneas and just do all of those quests just because I do feel that those are pretty efficient. And then I'm going to take a detour. Also, do I get Gilneas Exploration XP? I didn't even consider that. I think it might already count as being explored, but I could be wrong in that. Let's grab something. It's going to automatically put me on... Yeah, I think Gilneas automatically counts as being explored. But I should get Exploration XP by being on this flight for those two locations, so... Yeah, I mean, free XP there. What do I want here? I think... Oh, there's a few good options. I think Jade Ignition I like a lot. Because a lot of times on large AoE pulls, I just press Spinning Crane Kick and they instantly die. That is pretty helpful. What do I need? Still. I can start putting this stuff on my bars ahead of time. Just so I'm ready to switch to it ASAP. I don't think I'm going to use Abyssal Healing Potions in the scope of this run. Yeah, that should be good. And I'll just, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it with the level 41 stuff. Okay, drop me, please. Alright. Yeah, so I'm going to do basically this set of quests. Also, when do I get Shadowboxing Treads? Because that will be quite nice to have. Shadowboxing Treads is all the way down there now. Yeah, look at Jade Ignition. Oh my god. Okay, I should have taken that even earlier. Just erases a single pull. What's not to love? Alright. I can do this, and then Touch of Death, loot Korok's head. Come on. Yep, there we go. I don't know why I was being slow to do that. Then we get this thing. And... do I care about the Wolfsbane? I honestly don't even care about the Wolfsbane. If I want to continue this questline, I'll come back later and do it. But I'm starting to think more and more that I just abandon it there and we just will never even pick that up again. So... go there so we can pick up Ferocity of Swen. We're going to get Dance of Chiji because that is pretty good. Close to hitting the 1 hour mark. Just before I forget, I'm going to refresh my buffs now. Just because the last thing I want to do is wait until the last second and then accidentally let them expire. What level am I? 37. Okay, so I have a little bit of time until I get my next stuff. This quest obviously starts off a little bit slow, but it picks up pretty soon. Let me think. Yeah. It should not take more than 1 hour for the remaining few levels with all these things, but I don't think 30 minutes seems aggressive. I feel like 40 minutes is maybe doable. 40 minutes maybe could be a potential thing here. If I'm really fast about all of Hillsbrad. Because we want to do all of the quests up until Terran Mill, and ideally if we do all of Terran Mill and do Durnhold Challenge, all that stuff, it's just really good. Might even be better in total than the WoD intro. Because I've said before that the WoD intro is the most efficient set of quests in the game. But the WoD intro is really good because it also, it segues into WoD itself, so you're not really losing time by going out there. But I feel like Hillsbrad as a whole is definitely really good. It's hard to say. Because you can't really take WoD into isolation, because then if you finish WoD, the WoD intro, you're stuck over there and you have to travel back, and that would take time away. It's really tough. It's a hard thing to evaluate. That's always the tough part about doing these speedruns, right? How exactly do you evaluate something like that? It's odd that. Grab all these. Let's hunt this bear in. One tap it. I'm gonna grab all these eggs. Taunt you. Alright. Should be all the creeper eggs I need, and then I just need 2 more bears. So we do this, this, this. Okay. And I'll turn in these quests here. I think the only thing I need to be careful of is the spider. Yeah, there's the spider over here. I don't want to get too far away from it, because I've had issues there where I have to go back later on. Should be fine. Oh, shit. I barely clipped over the cliff. Okay, we're good. We got Muckgill. Main thing with this one, you need to make sure you kill the Murlocs one at a time. You can kind of cleave them, so I'll be doing that over here. But you need to make sure that you only finish them off. I gotta be careful. Okay. Go. That way the spider eats all of them, because it has a little built-in delay. Head this way. That. Wonderful. Okay, I guess he doesn't eat Scargill. Need 2 more. Yeah, that one I'm definitely gonna have to kill another spider, but it's fine. Alright. Relatively easy completion of those quests. We have to go into the mines, do the dumbass quests. Of course I did that. God, such an idiot. Yeah, this is what I'm worried about. I do so much damage, it's gonna be difficult to capture the humans, because I'm just one-tapping them. Okay. Yeah, that just one-taps. Not much I can do there. I'll wait to get the dumbass quest. Yep, that one taps. That one fuck! Okay. This is such first world problems, but... Okay, come on. Yep, that one taps. Fuck! Come on, follow me. Shadowboxing Treads and Fury of Swen. I'll be able to get the rest outside. I'll just need to be very careful. I can actually Tiger's List dumbass that. Oh, that's some tech. Okay, come on. Come on, there we go. And this one... There we go. Alright, we got there. Credit. Perfect. Hasty Provocation, I like Reverse Harm. I'm gonna wait until level 41, which should be after I do like one big pull to do anything else. So I'll do one big pull here, and then I can get my BOEs. Okay. We need Clarkoris Whitesteed. There we go, got that quest. And just do these two real quick. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, we got 41. Let's do this. Then over here, so let me quickly do Rushing Jade Wind, sure. Gates there. So I have level 41 BOEs that I can put on. These things, they are a pretty big power spike, so I will go ahead and do that. And then I already got this stuff ready. Does this give me the key? That gives me the key. Okay. And they're gonna snap to me. We pick up the other quest. Put that in the correct spot. If I do Hasty Provocation, and then a little taunt thing. I need to make sure I'm saving Touch of Death for... What's it called? Saving Touch of Death for the big guy that we fight at the end of this quest line. Take Thunder Fist. And... that... Fucking hit a fence. Okay, now there's some roleplay, so I have a moment to just clean this up. I doubt I'll need to clean my bags much, come to think of it. We can start putting this stuff ahead of time on there for when I need it. Shadow Core oil. Yeah. That should be everything for now. Am I missing any spellbook things that I can add? I don't think so. Nothing relevant. I'm gonna drop Transcendence for when this guy attacks. Any other buffs that I need? No, he should be good. Let me just wait. Obviously, a little bit of roleplay here, which it obviously sucks to sit through roleplay in a speedrun, but I mean, I'm like so much more keenly aware of all the roleplay going on when the run is like ludicrously fast like this. Which it's so funny how a lot of this is just XP modifiers. Blizzard's just given us so much to work with these days. That like, come on, Touch of Death. There we go, Touch of Death. Alright. Okay, we're gonna kill Dark Prowler real quick. Grab that, sure. Gonna stop by Elitis. I can actually use Glider. And normally don't do it that way, but what else am I going to use Glider for, honestly? I think that's actually a pretty good use of it. Okay, there's no Dark Rangers nearby. Okay, so we're just going to do the Slimes. And when I see a Dark Ranger, I'll do that quest. Big things to remember is at level 49, I want to refresh my XP buff with Draft of 10 lands, because you can't refresh it after 49. It still applies past that. It just can't actually be manually refreshed. So we need to remember to do that. I don't think it'll matter. I think at the rate we're going, we're just going to outpace it completely. But who knows? The double Dark Ranger. Alright. This. And I think this is maybe a good time to mention a notable thing about Earthen exploration leveling, because you might be thinking, I mean, hey, if Earthen exploration leveling, isn't maybe fast normally, wouldn't it also be fast with all these buffs? And this is kind of one of the more notable things about it. You actually cannot benefit from XP buffs for exploration XP. It gives you a very fixed value. And that means one of two things. One, doesn't get anything from the anniversary event, which means that that stuff all benefits my route and not the exploration route, which is one of the main reasons why I'm testing this just, for science, to see just how much faster this is when you have buffs. However, I do think that's something that a few people pointed out to me, which, it's very fair, it's worth noting, is that if you don't have any XP buffs, and you're leveling, without the war mode bonus, you're leveling without Draft of 10 lands and anything, and you're doing your, well, I guess the only problem is it's a little bit disingenuous just because in order to unlock Earthen, you have to have a level 80 character, right? So bare minimum, you're going to have like the 5% war mode bonus or war bands bonus. You may not have the entire thing. Obviously, anniversary buff is really easy to get. You may not have Darkmoon Fair, might not be around. Okay, sure. So stuff like that, yeah, you might not have. But there's a lot of other stuff like that where if you don't have every possible available experience buff, maybe you could make an argument for Earthen Exploration actually being a solid alternative if you really want to level in Earthen, because it is the same fixed speed regardless of, any modifiers. Which, yeah, that's a very fair point that a few people have brought up to me, and I can totally see that as being valid. Okay, I was going to say, there's normally a Dark Ranger that patrols back here. I got pretty bad luck on where she's patrolling, but it's fine. Just going to do that. Talk to Orcus over here. And then you can't go too far or Orcus will break. But this should be good enough for me to get a few of these Worgen dudes. And I should still be close enough to get credit for Orcus. That way I'm getting stuff in that quest. I normally didn't used to do that on a lot of my speedruns. It's just little tiny optimizations like that you start to think of when the run gets faster and faster. Because when the run used to be, like, we still did this route, but it was like 5 hours long and it included the, you know, sections in WAD. I wasn't necessarily thinking to myself of, like, how can I shave off, like, 5 seconds here and there. I was more so just concerned with the general routing process. But at this point, I think it's fast enough that I can start looking into things of that nature. Okay. I'm not going to do the Naga quest. I've generally found that it's just not worth the time it takes. It's just a real headache to do that. Okay. Well, I wasted a Dance of Chi-Chi proc because I leveled up and instantly one-shot everything anyway. Which, yeah, that's cool. I'm trying to keep a very close eye on my level. We need the Mudsnout Blossoms. We need one more after this. This guy's gonna attack me. Just one tap him. Whap. And now we go and do Dark Rangers and Worgen. Over this way, there should be a nice bunch of clusters that I can blow up. Ah, like you. Okay. Oh, immediately. And Jade Ignition. Boom. Fucking love that talent. We're gonna take Ancient Arts. I'm gonna wait until the channel's done because I believe accepting my talents will interrupt the channel. Okay. I don't know if... My phone just beeped. I have no idea if that picked up in the recording or not. My noise cancellation is pretty good, and my phone's like halfway across the room, but obviously, you know, I can hear it. Because it's only like... It's software that clears up the noise. It doesn't actually affect it. It's not like in my headphones or anything. Okay, 3 more. Oh, that's a good cluster. Whoa. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Jade Ignition! I'm just gonna do that. Am I stuck in combat? I think I am. Bonk. Let's just refresh all this stuff before I turn it in, because sometimes you just massively overshoot by turning in these quests. It's like a very gigantic turn-in. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to get to 49 from this. It probably won't take me all the way to 50. But I think it was good to play it safe. Yeah. Yep, it took me to 49, so... Definitely good that I thought to do that, just in case. I probably should have saved that Jade Ignition for something. It's Chi-Chi. Yeah, Windwalker Monk, I mean, it's still... I love Guardian Druid, don't get me wrong. But at this stage, the amount of burst potential that Windwalker has with all of its procs, it's just the undisputed king of speed leveling. I think for higher levels, like specifically 70 to 80 runs, I used Guardian Druid for that, just because, yeah, when you get to, like, certain higher level zones, you know, Windwalker might struggle to chain pull the entirety of a delve without breaking a sweat, especially some of the harder delves to do that, like Takrathon Abyss. in the recent, if you haven't seen it, I did a 1 hour, 5 minute 70 to 80 run. Kind of tragic. So close to the sub 1 hour barrier. And I believe it is doable. Just didn't quite make it there in that run. But honestly, if anything, gives me something to work towards. Flurry of Swen. Summon White Tiger statue. That'll be 51. I can already use that. Phantom Fire. I doubt I'll be using Phantom Fire much. That's also 51. Okay, Right. Yeah. This is the last bit of roleplay, and then it's just the entire, like, the gigantic, super-duper efficient XP section. I might not even go back to Silverpine after this. I think after this, if I'm not level 70 by the very end of it, I maybe just do part of the WoD intro? No, because, like, the most efficient parts of the WoD intro are towards the end. So, yeah, I don't know. WoD intro's weird. Like, WoD intro has some very dense hubs at the very end of it, where the what's it called? The little Shadow Moon area, the Blackrock area, and then the one where you free whatever Gnar, and like those three hubs back to back are extremely XP efficient. They're just very dense and doesn't take very long to get through all of them. I'm going to start putting all this stuff on my bars. I'm going to take this, put that there. I'm going to take... I'm not going to need refreshing healing potions. My health bar's barely moving. I don't know why I have ultimate power pots. I do not need those. Put that there. That's about it. I'll need that for Yetimus, so I'll put that. You also notice I have special Dragonflight enchanted heirlooms. My power spike in the final 10 levels is going to be a little bit ludicrous. I'm just going to start one-shotting things. Your scaling at that point becomes a little bit insane. I'm already going to be one-tapping things here, as you'll see, pretty close. But Yetimus should die in like a handful of globals. Though I might end up killing Yetimus before... before I hit 61. We'll see. I feel like... I don't know. I mean, you definitely don't skip Terran Mill. But I feel like there's maybe ways more to optimize this. Like, maybe because you're going so fast? I don't know. What did it... Killing those mobs definitely felt worth it. It's just, it's so hard to tell what's worth it, what isn't at this point. My definition of, like, efficient questing is just so warped with how many XP buffs there are. It's so hard to really judge. Get there. Nice. Just gonna put Shadow Core Oil. Fuck it. Oh, why am I picking up Stag Witches? Stag Witches doesn't even matter. Okay, now we're gonna go kill some rare mobs. Can take that, put that there. Shortix. Do I care about my talent points? Not really. Come on. Hello. Hitbox. Okay, maybe I'm not one-tapping things. Ooh. That would be dying a little bit faster. Alright. We're gonna go over to... Wrathy Place. Okay, I wasn't sure if that was the correct quest. Sometimes when that happens, you don't actually get credit, but that looks like we're good. Okay, got Magarak. Where's Grab a Slipknot? There we go. We have a chest. Sometimes a chest in there that's easy enough to reach that I'll usually go for it. Alright, and then I'm just going to check these obvious locations. Yeah, nice, we got a chest. Okay. So this detour was not a waste. And because I got that chest, I don't think it can spawn in other places. I'll check this tower as I fly by. No. Then we're just going to kill Scowl and then head back. Okay. Grab Windwalking and grab that.
What do you need?
Okay, now we've got in the main section of the quests, and there's going to be a few more rare mobs and hopefully chest spawn locations as we go. So this is where we found the chest before. This time it is Nada. Alright, I don't want to actually kill these guys. This one's always a little bit awkward. Fucking same issue as before, dude. Alright, yeah, that's cool. I'm trying to call a Banshee, please. Yeah, it didn't one-shot. Still need a few more. Ah! Oh, this is so annoying. Come on. There we go. I'm gonna actually wipe out the entire subzone at this rate. Don't proc, don't proc. There we go. Please don't kill. I'm like, okay, it's spinning crane kick. Surely it doesn't one-tap a single target mob. No. Yeah, Jade Ignition, too good. Is that it? We're done. Oh my god. Okay. Alright, we're gonna plant the pocket nuke. Is there a chest? Yep, chest is by Jimmy the Bleeder. Perfect. And of course he's up. Chest. And yeah, now it's over there. Yetimus is up, so we're just gonna kill him here. Let's do this. Okay. Yeah, Could have been a slightly cleaner Yetimus fight, but I also didn't have Goblin Glider up, so that made it a little teensy bit awkward. The water. This guy's gonna jump down. Right. We're gonna drop the water there. I'm not getting credit for a bunch of them. This is a really annoying bug that happens quite often. Yeah. Got credit for some of them, but not all of them. Okay. Press I'm 1 off. I'm 1 damage off lethal. Okay, there we go. Do I get credit for poisoning them? Nope, of course that bugs out too. Come on. Give me a break here. There we go. Okay. Now we can do this quest. Phasing is being really funky right now. Okay. Grab the pocket nuke. Up here. Okay. That's all. I can do the hill fawns.
I cannot use that item yet.
Hmm.
It is not ready yet.
Wonder. Yeah, we get that one. I'm trying to think how realistically close I could get to, yeah, I mean, within 30 minutes here, sub 2 hours is definitely doable. Just, like, trying to now think, if I do this run again, because I'm probably going to do a 1 to 80 run, in December when the buffs roll around a second time, because we're going to have Dark and Fair in December overlapping with Anniversary buff, and all the relevant stuff will still be there. So that'll be nice. And repeat this. But, you know, do the entire thing. Should be cool. And I think in that particular case, I'm trying to consider whether there's anything that I can do to speed it up. I'm sure there's like a little bit of optimization. I wonder if maybe Earthen exploration for like some of the lower levels, like before you unlock War Mode, right? Because War Mode obviously makes all these quests a good amount faster, but you could just like skip that entire intro thing, literally just spend the first 20 levels flying around, maybe even more, it depends. Maybe you skip Silverpine, or you could even like fly through Silverpine and do all those rares while getting exploration, and then since you're not questing in Silverpine, you're just getting bonus value out of that. Something like that, I guess, is kind of what I'm thinking. And that's like so min-maxy, though. That's also a really difficult thing to, like, put into practice. Unless you were to just, sit down and do the runs and literally just compare the times. There's no way for me to really simulate that, because a lot of the ways that I simulated my early leveling routes is I would just kind of test a bunch of zones, find what's fast, and then you can kind of roughly put together a combination of zones and say, this is probably going to be the fastest zone combo. But when you get into like little bits and bobs, like, do I include a tiny bit of exploration here? becomes very hard to visualize. And really, until you actually sit down and do it, you'll never know for sure. That, of course, massively increases the amount of time investment required to get something like that put together. Do I pull that Yeti? I do not. This one I do. Okay. Got a big turn-in coming up. I spent those points, right? Yeah, okay. Alright, I'm definitely not going to, yeah, I think maybe I overestimated just Hillsbrad a little bit too much. I'm not going to be able to get to 70 just off of this, but I got a lot. That is obviously very good. Hillsbrad is just a very good zone. That... no, I missed Sternhold Challenge. That's Sternhold Challenge. Yep. Let's see. I got Big Samris, so I want to go back here. I'm not going to do the Alokin quest. I do. I definitely feel I should check out a Wrathy, just because that gives me a bit of exploration, and there's rares there. And then what else do I include? Yeah, remember when I said I'm just going to start one-shotting stuff? That's kind of what I was talking about. Alright, yeah, Turnhold Challenge pretty fast. It's actually really dumb. That was insanely stupid. I can't believe that just happened. I did not expect to kill them that quickly, I'll be real. Okay. I think I just kind of explore now. End the run as God intended. Earthen exploration. I'm in the old version of Arathi, though? That's not what's supposed to happen. Okay. We adapt. How much XP is this going to give me? I don't know. It's not bad. It's not terrible. But I'm also, like, if I knew where all of the, chest and rare mob spawn locations were in every single zone... Okay, there's a rare right there. Then maybe this would be more effective. But I don't. I have a very vague recollection of where a lot of these places are supposed to be. I'm pretty sure there's a rare mob in this general area. Yep. I think there's a rare in this general area. Yeah, I think I encountered that one while leveling in Kata Classic, actually. That's the only reason I'm even going here, because like I said, I vaguely remember some of this stuff. But I'm probably going to end up missing a lot of points. There's one here. Sure. Let's get Plaguewood as an exploration point. And let's get Eastwall Gate. Does that count? That does not count. And then Quelithian Lodge. I am 99% sure there's a rare in this area. Just don't know exactly what spot it's at. Yeah, so I shouldn't bother. Should be a rare up here. So I'm going to check for that, because there also might be chests. There usually are in these types of areas. Yeah, I was right. There is a rare. Chest, I'm sure, is somewhere, but I'm not going to go and look for it. And at this point, I Zen Pilgrimage and return. Because while that was not terrible, and I definitely, like, I get the appeal, for sure, of Earthen exploration leveling, I am not 1000% confident in my ability to plot a route to get the remaining few levels, because it's not something that I really planned for. And I'm going to be honest, I want to just guarantee the sub 2 at this point. I do think that this can be cleaned up. Throughout this run, I've just constantly been thinking to myself, like, this can 1000% be cleaned up. Oh my god. Like, perhaps if I had stayed in... I'm gonna do WAD intro just because, like, we all know that WAD intro is goated. You just cannot go wrong with this as an option. Talk to Khadgar. And anything that involves killing mobs is just going to be really fast. I think I should have stayed in Silverpine longer, just trusted in the process, and done, like, the really efficient quest lines at the end. I don't know, though. Because, like I said, that other thing that I floated is not a bad idea either, of you just kind of completely ignore Silverpine and only do it for exploration XP. I don't know. I definitely think you do Hillsbrad, right? Hillsbrad felt pretty good to me. Come on. That didn't one-shot? Whatever. I get War Mode. Yeah, I think I get War Mode from this. Still active. Okay. Yeah. I've done WAD intro a million times. I'm confident that I can get the remaining experience in this amount of time. If I can't, then that's just tragic. But this stuff's really fast. I have all my buffs still rolling. I have 16 minutes on Darkman Fair buff, which should be more than enough. I don't think I need to refresh that. I think we're fine. Again, I honestly think this can still be further optimized. Right, I can't use that. Final charge of Radnax. We used the first two in Darkman Fair. Woo! Let's top off there. Khadgar's gonna run and catch up to us. Alright.
Let's get to it. We cannot stay here long.
Go.
The entirety of the Iron Horde will be upon us. Our champion will stay back and disrupt the enemy camp.
See.
The rest of us will seek safe passage through the jungle. Good luck.
That's... And... go really fast over here. I know I'm not talking a lot. This is one of the issues with these types of speedruns, I'll be real. I'm very stressed. It's so hard to go back to the old, like, type of speedrun where I just, like, kind of ramble and tell stories, because I usually, when I do these now, it's only the super duper fast ones. But I guess for storytelling type stuff, I do stream a lot these days. I've been streaming my Mythic Raid progression, which has been pretty fun. Good amount of turnout on that, actually. So if you like that kind of stuff, it's on my Twitch channel, link in the description as usual. But if you do enjoy those like more laid-back storytelling type of speedruns, it's difficult to do some of those when I am, really stressed out like this. But I can definitely do them, or, well, tell stories and stuff, and just relax and chat while I am streaming. Even during Mythic Raid Prog, in between boss pulls, it's relatively chill. And my guild is also, like, very relaxed. We are on Ansurek now, so we're close to the end. Need Goblin Glider here. Yeah, like, I'm looking at my XP bar and I'm like, I don't know, but... it is like I said earlier, these early sections are not the most efficient, because then we're also going to have the thing where you have to kill, like, the 100 orcs, and that feels like a little bit slow. So, it's going to be, like, it's going to be iffy, but then we're going to shoot past it. I believe.
Now, let's get moving.
I have many lucky doos you like.
I've gotten everything that I could use as far as consumables go. At this point, it's literally just a question of doing the run. Gonna have to recast this a few times because I have the bleed on me. Yay.
We are freed. Follow me, shaman.
Yeah.
Escape through the hills.
I definitely regret just not trusting in Silverpine Forest. Silverpine Forest is really good. The only thing that I was worried about is I left Silverpine right at the point where there's like a bunch of roleplay. You have the long flight back, but then you have, some good hubs. It wouldn't have been a complete waste. I think one of the biggest issues, and this is an issue that you encounter with leveling runs just in general, is past a certain point, there are certain barriers that just become increasingly more challenging to break through. I talked about this a bit in my 1 hour, 5 minute, 70 to 80 run, where I'm like, sub 1 hour is probably possible, but past a certain point, it's just really difficult. And that was another misconception. Again, I talked about this a few times with my sub 30 minute Mop Remix speedrun. A lot of people thought that after the experience adjustments, I saw some people saying things like, you could get sub 15 minutes now. Like, no. Just because the experience is massively reduced or you have a massive experience bonus, at a certain point, just raw travel time is going to kick your ass in terms of how long it takes to do certain things. And it's just going to be hard to breach a certain time threshold. Now, I could definitely optimize this for sure, but You know, the roleplay on those Silver Pine Forest quests, that time you can't change. It's a fixed time no matter how much XP increase you have or whatever. That is always going to take the same amount of time. So it's a little bit tricky. As the route gets faster, stuff like that becomes more and more of a burden on the run. Because that can't be mitigated by having just a shit ton of XP modifiers, basically. That makes sense. Alright. There we go. Now it gets faster. Hopefully. I say hopefully, like, I know how this shit works. It's just...
Sorry, but we don't have that kind of time.
I am just stressed. I am a big bundle of stress right now.
I only counted 99.
Sometimes just talking, rambling helps take my mind off the timer. If the more I stare at the timer, the more stressed I get. And then, you know, I'm constantly thinking about that. And I'm like second guessing myself, like maybe what intro wasn't the play. Maybe I should have just gone back to Silver Pine. And I'm just like, hey, at the end of the day, I picked what intro. That's what we're going with right now. Whether or not this was the correct play, it is the play that I made. And I gotta commit to it, so... We trust in the WAD intro. I've called it the best set of quests in the game. Now it needs to live up to its name. That'd be fine. I don't think I even need to pull those guys on the side. Generally. Is these Void Wolves. Let's hunt you. I don't even know what talent points I could realistically take at this point that would be relevant. Alright, you're dead. Okay, Yrel. Don't bug out on me today, Yrel. I need you to work properly. Okay, Yrel's working correctly, I think. Yep. I'm gonna cancel this, refresh it, just to make sure, because it's at 7 minutes. I don't want to lose the last minute or two Darkman Fair buff and then forget to refresh it.
I'll take this Draenei back to heaven. Stop that order. We will return with help.
Worthless.
Okay, Khadgar's already over there. Interesting. Normally he does a little bit of a teleport thing. Alright, 68. Alright, now we get the Blackrock weapon piles.
What's going on down there? Rise up, Frostwolves! Avenge the murder of your chieftain!
You three, follow our champion onto the battlefield and listen for my call. I must get
I'm just not going to at all for the end here. I need to not fuck up.
We don't have much more time. Everyone, get to high ground.
Okay. I can't remember if Khadgar gives me a quest or not, so I'm just gonna stay in this area and kill things. I don't think he does, but I need to get the Worldbreaker schematic anyway. I got it. Getting dazed by these mobs.
Free at last! I swear by the spirit of my father,
Okay.
I will make them pay!
Okay. Is this it? Huh. What am I missing? This is the one where Khadgar's bugged and takes forever to actually activate? Okay, fine. We're fine. We're fine. I have 4 minutes. I'm freaking out, but I have 4 minutes. And this, I'm like, fucking half a bar off, dude. Oh my god. Okay. Look, I thought this could be genuinely faster. Like I said, my goal was sub 2 hours, and I met my goal. I should just be happy with that. I should just be happy with that. That's all I cared about. Sub 2 hours is a pretty fucking sweet milestone. And this is it, right? I just turn this in. And that should be it. Okay, holy. Yeah, that's nuts. This could absolutely be optimized. I fumbled at the end. I don't think I fumbled at the end. I actually think I handled the end pretty well, all things considered. I think I fumbled early on by overestimating Hillsbrad. Hillsbrad was good. I think maybe I don't do the big rare kill tour. At least not if it's going to be in an area that I'm planning on doing already. One thing that I should check, am I getting credit for exploring? I don't think you get exploration credit for this area. It's just something to consider, right? I don't know. Like, would Frostfire and Gorgrond actually end up being more efficient because you're getting all of the Earthen exploration XP on top of it? Do you just skip the WoD intro entirely? There's a genuine case to be made maybe for doing that. Yeah, I could honestly see that. I think what you might want to do the one thing that I do remember hearing about exploration XP from talking to people is that there's certain ways to get bonus exploration XP if you go into higher level zones early on. So I think, like I said, because you want to make sure war mode is giving you the most value on the quests, etc., I think there is a very good case to be made for starting off with exploration for the very beginning of the run, when it's at its most efficient, just doing Earthen exploration, up until the point where that kind of falls off, and by that point you've got in war mode. Then you can go do your Dragonflight crafting stuff, because, you know, that's still like 2 free levels, right? And it takes a minute. Then you turn on war mode. I think you like basically go through Silverpine and explore all of the important hubs in Silverpine to get all that exploration stuff while hitting all of the rares and chests and stuff. And that probably is still worth doing, just because there's so many rares and chests, at least, you know, in the context of the PTR, right? Or, you know, I still used to benefit from rares. I would get like 90% of the rares by doing these runs on live servers at like 5 in the morning. So you can still reliably get them depending on what time you're playing. And there's less competition generally in war mode. So that would still be good. And then you would do Hillsbrad Foothills, do like all the normal stuff in Hillsbrad. And right now, I'm actually leaning towards you skip the WoD intro, just because getting exploration on top of everything else in Gorgrond and Frostfire would make that better. And while Silverpine is good, the issue with Silverpine has always been the fact that it's backloaded. And I should note, Silverpine has fallen a little bit. It's still a really fast zone, don't get me wrong, but it's fallen a little bit behind compared to like Gorgrond's potential, I feel, with the introduction of dragon riding. Because one of the biggest advantages of Silverpine historically is that it's early on in the route, back when you didn't have flying. And for a non-flying zone, at its level range, Silverpine doesn't really require that much movement that you can't cover with just gunshoes. So Silverpine ended up being really efficient with all the speedrun tech, gunshoes, gliders, etc. Because it was a relatively compact zone. It has a lot of forced travel, like with the Valkyr thing. But obviously now, in the context of being able to just zip around everywhere, and flying being ludicrously fast, the longer travel time requirements of Frostfire and Gorgrond are no longer as much of a concern. And then, of course, as the route gets faster and faster, and you struggle to justify including the entirety of Silverpine, well, if you can't include the entirety of Silverpine, and you can't include all the really dense quest hubs at the very end of it, which makes up a very big chunk of its leveling efficiency, then is it really better than, say, Gorgrond, which is pretty consistent all the way throughout? And, yeah, Gorgrond also gives you more exploration XP in that case, and despite being a larger zone, that's heavily mitigated by the dragon riding. So, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to consider for sure. I think largely this doesn't change the guide leveling route per se, and of course a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about here is Earthen specific. So Earthen specifically, yeah, they benefit from the exploration stuff, and I'm going to be completely real. All of this min-maxy exploration talk will not end up in the guide. I'm not going to include a section of the guide of, if you're playing in Earthen, you may want to consider switching around these different zones because your bonus racial will give you enough additional experience. Like, fuck that. You know, if people who care enough are going to watch this run. The people who just want to level casually and happen to pick an Earthen are going to be like, wow, I'm leveling up even faster than I expected. But I really generally don't like to include race-specific stuff. The one exception being for unlocking the dollar on Hearthstone, where in that case, I put like a little note basically saying, if you are these races or these classes, so Monk Mage or Dark Iron Volpera, then you don't need to actually get the dollar on Hearthstone because you have these abilities that bypass it. And that's just a very small footnote that specifically says you can skip this literal one step within the guide.
The rest of the stuff I don't really think I need to go into detail on. It's also funny, I don't think I've ever ended a speedrun in the WoD intro. I don't think I've ever done this before. So this is a historic run in a few different ways, which is kind of neat. It's pretty fun. But yeah. Yeah, this was... I'm happy with this. Like I said, sub 2 hours for this is the goal. And I think with some of those routing adjustments, well, I know that I can push the time down, because I know that there's definitely, like, a little bit of clutter here that I can fix up. The question is, how much? How much can I push it down by? And who knows? Who knows? We'll see. I do think a lot of those changes, at least in theory, sound good, but that's kind of how I develop these leveling routes. You know, I just sit here, construct a route in my mind of, like, this sounds good, but then actually sitting down and testing it, that's a whole different beast. That requires a lot more legwork in terms of actually getting it all figured out and deciding whether it's actually worth doing. Anyways, I will quickly end on a few notes real quick. If you're interested in 70 to 80 leveling, I've finished my guide for that. Very detailed guide. I put a shit ton of work into that over the last month. I've even had, like, supplementary materials, like a delve tier list for leveling and stuff like that. A lot of work has gone into that, so if you're leveling up your 70 to 80 characters, definitely go check that out, and go check out these 70 to 80 speedruns. I think they were really fun to do. It's getting really optimized, that part of the run. As for 10 to 70 leveling specifically, I am focusing more on Horde now, obviously. The nice thing is the overall route in terms of, as I said, casual play hasn't changed a lot. So I'm going to, now that this run is done, begin to work on the 1 to 70 Horde guide. And I'm going to make a video just for Horde. So that is a request that I heard a lot on my Dragonflight guide. A lot of people wanted separate Horde and Alliance guides, so I will do that this time. So we'll do Horde first. No particular reason, just... You know, Horde is what I've been using for a lot of those leveling speedruns, and that's what we'll start with. So the Horde guide should be out by the end of November for sure. I don't know exactly when, but that is the goal. And then I'm going to do probably one more Alliance speedrun just to, you know, get a good time down. And then sometime early December, hopefully the Alliance 1 to 70 run should be, or guide should be complete. That is. And then I will be finished with all the immediate leveling guides, and the only leveling guides I should have to update is if Blizzard introduces some massive new 70 to 80 leveling thing that completely upends my existing 70 to 80 guide. I could make an updated 70 to 80 guide later in the expansion. But it'll be nice to have all of that over and done with, because there's a lot of other cool video plans that I have. And on the topic of leveling stuff, I've mentioned this in the 70 to 80 run, but I'm going to do at one point a 1 to 80 speed run. That'll be at some point in early December, when the anniversary buff overlaps with Darkmoon Faire buff. You might see here that the anniversary buff ends here. That's just the PTR being weird. Anniversary buff runs until January, in actuality. So on this week, like I said, I'm probably going to reattempt this run. I might even reattempt the 70 to 80 run, try to get a sub 1 hour, depending on how I'm feeling. And I'm going to stream a 1 to 80 run. So that one's going to be a little bit less serious, but I will stream that, and then at some point leading up to it, so probably somewhere in, like, this area, I'm going to put up a poll and let you guys pick what race I'm going to play. I'm not sure whether it's going to be, like, I'll pick the faction, or I'll let you guys pick the faction and then vote for the race within that faction. Could be interesting. I'll think about it a little bit. I mean, we have plenty of time until I do that. I don't know exactly when it's going to be, but as usual, I like doing those polls. People seem to enjoy those polls, so I'm going to continue with that tradition. And that 1 to 80 run will be streamed at some point during this week with the Darkmoon Faire. Probably on either Sunday, Monday, Friday, or Saturday, just because Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday I raid, and it's going to be, you know, hectic. Until Queen Ansarek dies, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are difficult for me to stream. I mean, I will still be streaming my raid, but I won't be streaming the leveling thing. We'll see, though. We'll see. I'll probably give more details on that as we get closer. And I might stream like 1 or 2 other runs, but there's I kind of teased there's a few other cool projects that I'm working on, so I would rather focus my efforts on getting those projects done, and then if they work out, it would actually give me a lot of fun stuff to stream. So we'll see. We'll see. Playing that by ear. Like I said, the main focus now is the leveling guides and runs, because that's kind of long overdue, right? Meant to get that done at the start of the expansion, but I mean, I've had a lot of stuff to deal with. Hopefully you can understand that. And yeah, I think that's about it. The last thing that I will end the video with, because I mentioned this earlier, is I will show the first attempt of this. I'm not going to show the entire first 2 minutes, but I will cut into where the run died, and you'll just get to see my reaction, because I was just flabbergasted that I got completely demolished by the dumbest crap ever. So I think that'll be a fun little blooper to end the run with. But Current Harlden, signing out. Thank God this run was sub 2 hours. I genuinely would have been fucking shattered if this had missed the sub 2 hour mark, because that was all I really wanted. Everything else was a bonus. But that anxiety of like, oh fuck, am I gonna miss it? Did I screw up? Did I just not trust Silverpine enough? Started building. But we could definitely lower this time. And I'm happy with a sub 2 hours of starting mark, and we build from here. So, yeah, that's it from me. And let's cut to that past blooper. And as I go back to chat, I'm not going to take a direct line. I'm going to, meander a little bit. We're going to take a few little detours to pick up Earthen exploration stuff where it makes sense. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier. There's maybe 1 or 2 other places in the run where something like... Really? 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 That didn't... Okay. Are you kidding me? How did that not happen in any of my practice runs? What the hell? Ugh. Oh my fucking god. I have to mail all of this shit again, dude. Alright, editor Harlden just chiming in to say that I hope you enjoyed the speedrun and the little extra bit of footage at the end, which, for the record, in the immediate moment that I was recording this, I didn't really think I was going to end up using that footage, so that is my actual genuine reaction to all of that stuff happening. But anyways, if you found this run enjoyable, I would highly encourage you to toss it a like, as that will help other people find it as well, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.